just before you say something you can't take away. Take a breath, then let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what will love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do? Sing it from inside with me, y'all. What would love do now? Let me hear you sing it, people.
What would love do now?
Sing it one more time for me, y'all.
What would love
Do now. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity Spokane. How are we doing today? Wow, this is great. I wish those of you pan the camera, see the faces we have in here. We have our mask-less section over here. We have our mask section over here. We're all together. This charges me up like you can't believe. Caleb shared a joke with me. I got to share it with you. He says this morning, he says, not many people remember this, but remember when you used to go to a restaurant? It's like now it'll be, 2 for masking? We got masking for 2. Anyways, good stuff. Well, welcome. We are Unity Spokane, where we're all about our mission, which is transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. Every little thing that we do makes a positive difference. I'm Jeff Tawney, most of you know. I'll be your platform assistant this morning. If you will take a moment, if you remember to kind of take your cell phone and silence it, you can either drop the volume button all the way down, which will lower the ring volume, or if you know how to put it mute, you can do that. As always, we want to begin our time together with our opening affirmation. I'll say it once, and then I'll ask you all to join me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle, and it is also becoming mine. One presence, one power, one life living through and as each one of us. This morning we'll be hearing from our transformational speaker, Ryan Sawyer. Ryan, you look so familiar, and I don't know what it is, if it's the mask, the eyes, but you look really familiar. Anyways, his message this morning is letting go to find freedom. Ryan will also be leading us in today's meditation after his talk. So, before any further ado, I'm going to introduce Amber McKenzie with our news you can use.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Kind of a lot of announcements today, but let's get to it. First of all, Happy Pride Month. As everyone here knows, Unity is a place where all are welcomed and honored. And we especially want to make that pronouncement to and with our LGBTQ+ communities in a variety of ways. First, we have the Unity published, I don't know if everybody has seen this, booklets. They're free booklets, and they're going to be available out in the lobby. But this booklet is really amazing. It's very profound. It is the LGBTQ+ stories of overcoming rejection and religion to find truth. So really amazing stories in here. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to do so. We might have to order more. We have a handful available, so please avail yourselves to those. Second, in honor of Pride Month, we are supporting, with your community giving, 2 local nonprofits that specifically work with LGBTQ+ youth, adults, and families. They are Wonderfully Made Northwest. You can see it up on the screen. There's their logo there and website, and then also Odyssey Youth Movement. And I have both organizations, website up there as well. But today, I want to kind of highlight a little bit about Wonderfully Made, and then next week we'll highlight Odyssey Youth. So Wonderfully Made was actually founded by a friend of mine. Her name is Jennifer Burrows, and she experienced a great deal of pain, growth, and transformation from her own experience as a previously devout religious woman who had a gay son. As a result of her and her family's journey, they started the Wonderfully Made organization, which believes that each person's spiritual journey is just that, personal. Their website states, "We know that many within the LGBTQ+ community and their families have been deeply hurt and no longer wish to be affiliated with a church or a religion, while there are those desperately seeking and desiring to belong to a faith community that fully embraces them. Harmful theologies espoused on a Sunday morning do not stay within church walls, nor the confines of a denomination. They are far-reaching, making their way into the lives of people and etching away at their humanity." So I wanted to share a clip from the organization and their new documentary that is just coming out. It's titled A Call to Love, which everyone here can watch on the weekends in June. If you visit their website or Facebook page, wonderfullymadenw.com/events, you can get more information about this wonderful documentary. It's all local stories, local families. So I highly encourage you to do that. But real quick, let's watch this video about Wonderfully Made and my friend Jennifer Burrows.
Dear God, I think back to when we first welcomed our son into the world. We held him in our arms with so much love and wonder. We enjoyed each precious and challenging phase that parenthood had to offer, unaware of one of the biggest challenges that we would face. Your word says that whatever we ask for in prayer, believe that we have received it and it will be ours. Little did I know, our son, with a heart full of faith, was praying to you night after night with a life-altering request. He had a burden that he was quietly carrying. As you well know, he was praying for you to make him straight. Rather than having his prayers answered, as your word says, he found each one met with silence day after day. He continued to hope, even as the days turned into years. I soon joined my son in the same prayer, but with the same response: silence. We prayed and we begged, we trusted and we believed, but still our prayers were met with nothing but silence. I kept thinking of how Jesus described you. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, would give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will give him a snake? If you, then though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those that ask him? We asked, and we sought, and we knocked, and in return, all we saw was the light in our child grow dim from the weight of all of those soul-crushing stones. And we felt as though snakes were being sent to devour the love, the joy, and peace that we once enjoyed as a family. Could it be that our faith was not even the size of a tiny mustard seed? Or was it because our thoughts are not your thoughts and your ways not our ways? Or was this a test of faith, as in the story of Job? How much longer, I wondered. Our souls were weary, but there was simply no rest. I have come to realize now that you were, as the psalmist wrote, keeping track of our sorrows, collecting all of our tears in your bottle, and recording each one in your book. Not only were you keeping track, but you were listening and you were answering. The truth is, I didn't know you, God. I knew religion, but not you. I knew Bible verses, but not you. And I knew fear, but not you. And in not knowing you, I could not possibly know love. And in not truly knowing love, I stumbled one of your little ones. Your yoke is easy, but I made it hard. Your burden light, and I made it heavy. I did not allow you to give us rest for our souls. I know now that the answer lied within your silence and the darkness. The treasure of religious theology and wisdom that I had stored up had to be consumed by moths and rust and stolen by thieves so that I could begin to understand the treasures of heaven. I thank you for the darkness because I could finally see your light. And I thank you for the silence because I could finally hear your voice. Thank you for allowing my heart to shatter so that you could stitch each broken piece back together with a thread of your undying love. Our life is but a vapor, and I grieve the precious time lost to a lie disguised as an angel of light. The light was so bright that it blinded me to the reality of your love. The idea of you loving us just as we are right now was too vast of a truth to embrace. I now know that you aren't simply a God of love, but you are love. And to be created in your image is to be a reflection of that love. You have brought restoration to our family in so many ways, and for this I thank you. But God, I still have a plea that with each stitch of love that you use to mend my heart, that you could soften my grief over lost time. The hands of time cannot be turned back, but I pray that you would keep me from allowing even one more moment to be robbed by regret. Help me to be fully present in your beautiful and life-giving truth. I pray that you would spare any other family from taking on heavy yokes and burdens that cause them to become slaves of a demanding and soul-draining master. A master that robs them of being able to fully love their children, your creation, so fearfully and wonderfully made. Amen. My name is Jennifer Burrows, and I'm the president of Wonderfully Made. We fully realize that the LGBTQ topic has become something that's very polarized, especially within the church community. The goal of our organization is to help move us out of this topic being nothing more than an issue or a debate and move into stories of real-life people who have been affected. On October 17th at the Bing Crosby Theater at 7 p.m., we ask you to please join us for a night of powerful stories and journeys. I really wish...
So this was before, but now they're promoting their documentary, as I mentioned. So if you are interested in learning more about this organization and the work that they're doing and the stories that they're telling, please do go to wonderfullymade.nw.com to learn more. Okay, thank you so much. Now we're going to do news you can use. We've got a bookstore sale. This is exciting. We're going to try to move some things in the bookstore. We've got lots of great used books. We have brand new books. We have greeting cards. And so what we're doing is now during the month of June, we are doing new books, buy one, get one free. Used books, fill a bag. Fill a bag for $10. You could get like 6 books in here. I tried. So feel free. And then we also have buy 2 greeting cards, get 1 free. We'll be open today from 11 to 1, and then Mondays and Tuesdays 9 to 11, and also by appointment. So please feel free to browse after services, or come in tomorrow morning or Tuesday morning. And then also we have daily words back, everybody. I think you've been missing these because we haven't been getting them. So this is the July-August 2021. They're $6.95. They're in the bookstore. So if you'd like to purchase one of our daily words, please do that. Okay, good. And then next we have a new class coming up. So this is exciting. Al Konigsfeld is going into a first of its kind adventure, he calls it. So what he says is, have you ever seen an inspirational video and wished you could invite a group of friends to watch it with you and discuss it later? So that is what Al is doing. You can sign up with him at alkonigsfeld@outlook.com and receive a link to a video. The theme is going to be faith, and then he's also going to send a set of questions to think about while you're watching the video. And then you'll go to so you'll look at the questions, you'll go to the YouTube video, watch it, and then on June 23rd at 7 p.m., there will be a Zoom discussion that Al is leading. So it's a one-time class, basically, but you do a little pre-work, and then everybody gets together to discuss it. And like I said, the first topic is faith, and this will be the first of its kind, and then if it goes well, then we'll be looking for more hosts to share their videos to find inspiration with others. Okay, so anyone who's interested, please contact Al. Okay, and then next we have some COVID updates. So just to give you a little bit of information, I know last week Joan talked about in the board update about the Washington state requirements for faith organizations. And so we are obeying those. And what that means is that masks are still required throughout the center. And then we have a masks optional section over here. So that section will require proof of vaccination. And then congregational singing is encouraged. Hugging is okay, but be sure to ask, because some people I think are kind of like, ugh, too much too soon. And then make sure to sanitize your hands often. And then what we'll do for next week, each week we'll kind of determine what the sanctuary looks like. We'll probably expand the masks optional section a little bit so that more seating is available. So each week we will continue to update. And also we'll probably be changing guidelines as well. So we'll keep you posted on those. Okay, next Sunday we have, June 20th, we have Reverend David McClure leading the 9 a.m. Spiritual Journeys meditation in the chapel. And that will be Love Notes from the Universe. So if you're interested in that, please come next week, 9 a.m. And then our transformational speaker will be Richard Seaman, and his talk title is The 9 Keys to Balancing the Chaos in Your Life. He has asked that you please bring something to write with and write on. We might have some scratch paper available for that service, but he's going to have you all do like a quick ranking of the 9 keys that he presents. So it's kind of an interactive service. So please bring a pen and something to write on, or we'll have something here. And then on that day, Sunday, June 20, then the next week, Sunday, June 27th at 9 a.m., we have Pat Mertens leading our spiritual journeys. And the title of that will be Get Your Goddess On. Doesn't that sound fun? Sounds fun. And then at 10 a.m., we have Reverend David McClure giving our transformational message. How do I get to Carnegie Hall? Love it. Okay, and then, I'm sorry, one more thing. On June 20th, next week, we have music by Michael Robinson. So that'll be fun. Yay, right? So please come to that or tune in. And then coffee in the prayer garden after services today. That'll be right after services in the prayer garden. There'll be coffee and tea available and fellowship. Okay, and now I want to introduce Jim Sledge, who will be giving us an update on the ministerial search. Come on up, Jim.
Good morning, everybody. So it's been about 6 months since we said goodbye to our beloved Gary and Jane. So I think a lot of people have been wondering, okay, where's our new minister? And I thought it would be a really good time to sort of give you an update as to where we are in that process. So the ministry search team has been meeting on a regular basis, and the process has been a bit slower than we would have anticipated or liked. I think we know that the COVID pandemic has put a damper on a lot of that activity. There just aren't as many ministers looking to make changes at this point in time, and that's understandable. But that doesn't help us. We're still wanting to move forward at a good clip. So we're continuing to move on with our process. We've had 3 applications or 3 candidates, and we're hoping to interview one of them next week. So things are moving. We want to assure you of that. In the meantime, we are updating our materials that Unity Village has for ministers that are looking for new places. And in doing that, Gay and Dave Ribble are going to be updating our video that accompanies that information. And Gay and Dave will be doing some videoing and some pictures throughout today. So if you have an issue with your face being on a video or that sort of information, please let Dave and Gay know, and they can figure out a way to get around that. And no, there are no royalties. So scratch that off.
You might want to mention too, we have one in posters.
So Dave wants you to know that there will be no wanted posters for this sort of thing. So your information is well guarded. So the long and short of it is we appreciate everybody's patience as we go through this process. And as always, anybody in the ministerial search team would be happy to talk with you, answer questions, take in any information that you would like to have the board or the search committee get. So if you have a question or if you have something to pass on, you can feel free to contact me or anybody in the church, and that information will get passed on to the search team. So with that, we know that we are going to be receiving our right and perfect minister, and we'll keep you updated on that process. So thank you.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, God. Oh, I am free in the Spirit. Yeah, yeah. Do you want to be free? Then let me hear you say yes. Yes. Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
Did my thing just fall off? Amber told me she had a song to lead me into today, and I was like, well, oh my goodness, I have to compete with that. So I'm Ryan Sawyer. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about this topic, and is it okay if I walk around? All I can do is my thing. Okay, good. So I want to give you a little bit of insight first into why I am here and having this conversation with you about letting go to find freedom. First of all, I believe that everything, the root thing that we are all looking for in life, everything that we're striving for, trying to find, looking for, is a sense of freedom. You know, we think that we're going to find this freedom when we reach certain goals, when we have certain outcomes, when we meet the right person, when we reach a childhood dream. We think, okay, when I get there, then I will be able to feel the way I want to feel, right? Is anybody in here can relate to that, right? Well, in my own life, I lived a life very outwardly focused, okay? Very much so a goal setter, always striving, competitive, collegiate football athlete. I was a collegiate football coach for 12 years. We won the national championship, and I remember being on the field, arms up over my head, reaching this childhood dream, feeling like this is what I've come here to do. And not a moment later, my mind says, we got to do it again. And I realized that even in that moment, it was not a sense of celebration. I was not celebrating the fact that I have reached this pivotal moment in my life. I was actually going, whew, I did it. I can feel worthy. I can feel good enough. All of this wasn't for nothing, right? And so to understand that no matter how much we achieve, no matter how much accomplishment and or acknowledgement from other people in the world, there will never be a sense of freedom unless we find it internally, right? Unless we learn how to let go, how to love ourselves, how to absolutely surrender. And we're going to talk about the actual process of surrendering. I'm going to do a little program or a little presentation here that usually takes me about an hour in about 20 minutes. So give me a few things we skip over a little bit, but I'm going to try to introduce it to you, and we're going to try to build what I call the model of letting go. We're going to try to understand, like, how do we actually do this? How does this make sense to me? And what is the practice behind it? So I'm a bit of a yogi, and so I always look at everything that no matter what I'm taking on in life, there has to be some sort of a practice to back it up. There needs to be some sort of a seated practice, meaning that a way that I'm going to start my day in a form of meditation, right? To be able to set myself up, to be able to traverse the day moment by moment and actually let go. So I'm going to actually lay that foundation in my seated position. And then what is the actual practice as I'm navigating my life to find more freedom? And in my own experience, I left my coaching career in a place where I was constantly trying to change everything. And everything that I changed, just in my opinion, made it feel like it was worse. And I had put my marriage in a place where it was failing. My family I was about to lose. Even though everything on the outside looking in looked perfect, it was completely falling apart. So no matter what I changed. So this led me to this path. And I found mentors and processes and breath work and yoga and read the book on Tethered Soul and Letting Go by David Hawkins, and I started to really say, I want to understand what this idea of letting go or surrender really, really means. I want to absolutely be able to practice this and then be able to share it. And as I started to kind of cultivate this idea of letting go and practice it, it gave me a sense of freedom. I realized that the world does not have to be a certain way for me to be okay. I stopped trying to change the people, either the actual people in my life or who they were being so they could fit my stuff. I began to look inward to let go of whatever that was keeping me from the experience that I wanted to have, right? And so there's a two-part process that we're going to talk about. The first part is letting go. We have to be able to understand, first of all, what is it that we're letting go of to find freedom? This is just a small list. We could go on for days. We're going to let go of what other people think, the past, the future, this need to be right, any sort of limiting belief, like I am stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, right? Expectations are huge. When we set expectations, we're actually setting the stage for suffering, right? So expectations that we have for ourselves or for others. I love this one, preferences. Preferences are huge. We find that these preferences, they build up throughout our day, they build up throughout our life. And when I was really starting to dive into this idea of surrendering and letting go, we were on vacation in Hawaii as a family. My family, my brother's family, my parents, we all had this house we rented. And so I'm on the pool side at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, this is going to be a wonderful week. I get to spend time with the family. I'm going to get a chance to do my yoga practice, my meditation, read my book by the pool. 6 o'clock rolls around. Here comes all the kids running out of the rooms. Jump into the pool. I'm like, it's 6. Kids at least get to like 7 o'clock in the morning to have my peace and my time. And I recognized very quickly that I wanted that present moment to be different than it was. And it caused a sense of suffering. Oh, they shouldn't be in the pool right now. And so-and-so shouldn't be doing this. And I recognize, wow, I'm going to cause suffering for myself and for others unless I let go right now of what I prefer, right? I prefer my coffee to be a certain way. I prefer this person not to follow me so close in traffic. I prefer for that light to stay green, right? Because now I look at it, when the light turns yellow and I pull up to it and it's going to stay red, I'm like, hey, cool, this is a chance for me to let go. I get to practice. So I recognize it very quickly. On this vacation, I'm going to let go. Every single time that the present moment is asking me to be different than I want it to be, I'm going to let go and just do whatever it's asking of me. So when my kid, who at the time was 6 years old, says, Dad, you want to swim in the pool with me? I said, sure I do. Even though there wasn't a bone in my body that wanted to jump in that pool at 6:15. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to sit here and read my book. I want to look at the view. I want to enjoy the ocean. There's so many things I want to do besides jump in that pool. But I did every single time throughout the week. And I found myself connecting with my children, with my wife, with my parents, with my brothers in a way that I never thought possible in this week's span of time. I didn't tell anybody about it. I was just practicing. At the end of the week, we're sitting on the beach, and my wife says to me, Ryan, you look like a man that has zero preferences. And I started to chuckle. I'm like, you look like you're completely free. And it absolutely dawned on me, like, this is a moment-by-moment practice of letting go of our preferences, our judgments, our doubts, our fears, what people think of us. What are people going to think, right? Even to a certain degree of like what we're thinking, like letting all these things go. So we're going to talk about some basic universal principle to build this model, okay? The first part of it is the law of vibration. Everything in this world is energy. Can we agree, right? We're energy. There's energy surrounding us. This platform, everything is energy. It's just a difference of quality and kind, right? The frequency and or the vibration, how fast it's actually vibrating determines whether something is matter, how dense that matter is, right? Does that make sense? So even to a degree, and I love being able to have this conversation with this group because I have this conversation with other people and it's like, what are you talking about? So it makes it easy in here. I'm like, I'm not going to have to spend much time on this slide, so that's good. The next piece is understanding like attracts like, right? So the frequency or the vibration that I'm resonating at will then therefore be what I am attracting as an experience into my life, the people into my life, the outcomes, there's certain things. So whatever I'm currently experiencing and or thinking about myself or feeling about myself and the vibration that I am experiencing is going to be what my world is going to then evolve into. Whether my four walls of my home or the community and or the experience I have of running my companies or whatever that looks like, right? So we're going to experience this by sending and receiving emotions, and these emotions are going to cause this vibration, right? When we feel a denser, darker, lower vibration emotion, that's going to create something there that we're going to be attracting more into our lives. Because energy in motion is emotion, right? Everybody's heard that before. Okay, so good. I'm going to go a little bit quicker here. The next piece is the law of polarity. So that's a law of vibration, right? Universal principle. You can count on it every single time. The law of polarity states that there has to be two opposites for anything to actually exist, right? For they have to coexist. For there to be courage, there has to be fear. For there to be up, there has to be down. For there to be right, there has to be left. For there to be cold, there has to be hot. For there to be big, there has to be small, right? For there to be doubt, faith is then created, right? We would not have faith if it wasn't for doubt, right? We would not have choice without addiction. We would not have creators in our life without there being victims. There is no way that we could experience being open without experiencing being closed, right? We would not understand or feel what abundance feels like without understanding what lack feels like. So no different than guilt and joy and apathy, just having absolutely no regard for life and complete passion for life, right? So these opposites exist, and this transformed my life. When I learned the law of polarity, I said, oh my goodness, not only do they have to coexist, but they're existing at the exact same time. That means they're both available at any one time. That means when I am in a place of depression and anxiety, feeling guilt and fear and doubt, that means that joy, peace, and love is available at the exact same time. There has to be truth. It's the universal principle. So then, therefore, how do I get there? How do I actually traverse? This is called the scale of emotions. Tough to see. But if you look into David Hawkins' work, he talks about the scale of emotions. On the very bottom is shame, 20, right? Guilt, apathy, these are very low vibrations. You move up to what's called neutral. Neutrality is 250. So actually courage is still taking more energy than we are actually accumulating within our body. It takes more energy to be courageous, right? So we're expending energy. So if you look above that, it becomes willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. When we move above into willingness and acceptance, love, peace, and joy, we're now accumulating energy, right? So how do we move up this scale of emotions? And understanding as well as that if everything is energy and emotions is energy in motion, right? Then therefore, if the lower the vibration, the slower that energy is moving, the more matter it becomes, the more identified and attached we become to it. The more it becomes real in our minds and in our experience. Therefore, we may attach and identify more to desire, to anger, to pride, to guilt, to grief, right? Those become more real to us because they're lower vibrations based upon the scale of emotions. Therefore, they become more like matter. It becomes darker. I know, I have experienced when I was in a deep, dark place of depression. There's no way out. It's a dark room. There's no windows. It feels so real that you cannot see into the next moment. I know what that feels like, right? So understanding then we create more story. Our mind creates more story, more attachments, and more identifications about these lower vibrations. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. So with that being said, we understand that attachment and identification and expectations, these things is leading to our suffering. So these are the main things we want to be able to learn to let go. As a yogi, we understand we want to be able to practice non-attachment, right? The more we become less attached to something, the more free we become. And this is a conversation and a practice that could go on for hours, right? We could go back and forth on this for hours. But this is what came to me. I'm sitting on a plane in January, flying back from a weekend in Miami with a friend of mine who is showing me a world that I had no idea existed, okay? Because he wanted to expand what I thought was possible. So he brought me down to Miami and just absolutely everything was taken care of, and limos, all these things, and I'm sitting there going, my mind was blown of what is possible in this world. And so I'm sitting on the plane, I'm flying home, and all of a sudden I just got this download all at once of what was I called this natural state of the mind or the model of surrendering, what we're going to actually experience when we begin to let go. So if you look at the red line that drops below this neutral line, right? This is where we become more attached and identified with what we're experiencing. This is what I call the non-serving ego. This is where the voice becomes much stronger. The I told you so. So I told you, you're not good enough. You're not lovable. Why are you even trying? Right? Those types of voices, I know we've all had that fear-based voice, right? When that starts to happen, we become identified and attached to that story. This is our opportunity to begin to this practice of letting go and surrendering. And understanding when we're not going to dive a real far into the observer effect, but we've all heard about the observer effect, right? In this room, understanding that what you look at actually by looking at the thing, it changes, right? Because we actually observe something, therefore the thing of it changes. Like it only becomes matter because we're looking at it. Is that chair even there? I mean, that whole conversation, right? Therefore, when I begin to look at what I'm experiencing from this observer perspective, I start to witness it. I can sit behind it. I start to remove and create space between what I'm experiencing. Therefore, the thing that I'm experiencing changes. I begin to detach myself from that story. I begin to absolutely let go of the fact that I'm afraid, that I'm experiencing grief and guilt and doubt and fear, right? Rather than attaching more to it and feeding to the story. Okay? So if I let go and I observe it, then I can practice what I call the 3 A's. And we're going to practice this here in a moment. The 3 A's, number one, is bringing my full attention to the present moment. Not trying to be anywhere else or change anything about the present moment. I don't need it to be different for me to be okay. I'm going to look at it fully. I'm going to have the courage to look into my shadow, to look into the closet and say, what's really going on? Why is it there? Full attention, right? The second A is complete acceptance, right? And I'm going to talk about this a bit, but complete acceptance means no judgment. Whatever I'm experiencing internally, I'm not going to create a story around it. I'm not going to judge myself for it. I'm going to love myself fully and accept whatever is there, whatever emotions wanting to pass through my body. Think about this. Thoughts and emotions is stress wanting to leave your body. Okay? So thoughts and emotions is stress wanting to leave your body. What keeps it from actually leaving your body? It's you. It's your suppression. It's your mind telling you a story. It's you trying to bottle it up so it doesn't get touched. It's you trying to be okay and make your world smaller and make sure that everything in your world fits a certain way so it doesn't touch it. Right? This is me expecting that my wife has to be a certain way for me to be okay. Why is she doing this? Why is she acting that way? And when we begin to let go, they can be however they are, and it's going to pass right through me. Okay? So the third piece is allowance. I'm not going to try to change it. This is called non-resistance. This is the hardest part. We completely allow for whatever experience to flow through us. David Hawkins says, if we completely get ourselves out of the way, that even the deepest experience of grief will only take 90 seconds to pass through us. I mean, think about what's possible. If you completely do not try to resist it, we're not bottling it, we're not suppressing it, we're not repressing it, and we just let it pass all the way through us, right? It's going to transmute into something different. It's going to then weaken. The story is going to weaken. And what's going to naturally happen? It's like if you're underwater and you're holding on to weights. When you let go of that weight, what do you naturally begin to do? You start to transcend, you start to evolve, you start to actually float back up to the surface, up to a neutral place. Well, this is what's possible when we let go. It's like letting go of weight. You start to float. You start to transcend. You start to work your way back up this emotional scale. So when you let go of grief and fear, you then come into a place of anger and eventually pride and then courage. And you actually surrender your way up this scale of emotions. Eventually, you surrender your way up to willingness and acceptance and reason and love and joy. But then something happens. Because the natural state of the mind is a place of complete stillness, complete wonder, a childlike sense of wonder where we're completely open and curious. Like each moment is completely fresh and new. We've never been here before. Right? So what happens? When we start to get to this place, it's the unknown. And the unknown can be uncomfortable. Right? It can be a bit scary, especially to our non-serving ego. It says, you guys ever heard of the crab theory? You put a bunch of crabs into a bucket. If one of the crabs start to actually claw its way out of the buckets, the rest of the crabs will pull it back down. Basically, this mentality that human beings also carry is, if you can't have it, neither can I. Right? And so we know about the fact of shadow work and doing the Q process that there's parts of us that are fragmented. There's parts of us that are scared. There's parts of us that are wounded, right? And so when we start to experience this open and freedom and joy and peace and a sense of wonder, there's a part of us that says, this is scary. Get back down here. Right? So we get the crab theory. It happens. And it pulls us back down because the moment we begin to step out and to be courageous in the world and start to be open and curious and to have a sense of wonder, we start to maybe step out into a new experience of life. a new business, writing a book, a different relationship, whatever it may be, the mind's going to say, you're not good enough. What are you doing? I told you can't do that. And it's actually going to cause resistance. Internal resistance, which is the voice, and it may even show up as external resistance. Something's going to happen in your life that's actually going to cause resistance from the thing that you want to experience the most. This is another opportunity for us to then, as this crab theory happens, and we're in this unknown place. Again, I'm using the word unknown, not comfort zone. Because when I'm down here in apathy, grief, fear, in this lower vibrations, it's not comfortable. It's known. I know what it feels like. We've all been there. But I wouldn't call it comfortable. Right? My goal is to be in the unknown. In the unknown, I get to decide who I want to be. In the unknown, I get to make it up as I go. In the unknown, anything is possible. This is where we start to tap into the quantum field. We get to step into a place where we get to decide who it is we want to be, who we've come here to be, and how we want to experience the world. You ever ask yourself that question? How do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? Right? If I get to decide that, what does that look like for me? So as we begin to do this process of letting go, we start to be in this unknown, unfamiliar place, we get to start to ask this open question of saying, who am I? Well, then the ego doesn't like that because it wants to stay in this story, in this box of this known experience, this uncomfortable, even though it's uncomfortable, it's known, right? So it pulls you back down. The crab theory happens, and it causes confusion. It causes irritability. It justifies. See, I told you you're not good enough. What are you trying to do? Step out there in the unknown. Get back over here, right? Well, notice how the second line here is shorter than the first one. Why? Because we recognize it. We're strengthening this awareness. We're strengthening this muscle, and we're strengthening the practice of being able to let go. So what's another opportunity? When that happens, we expect it. It's going to happen. We let go again. And when we let go again, we begin to, again, the same thing happens. We begin to evolve. We begin to transcend. We begin to be able to ask ourselves that question. And what are the tools? What are the tools that keep us above that line? Number one, it's the meditations, it's the yoga practice, it's the movement, it's the spending time in community, it's spending time with friends, it's reading a good book, it's dancing, it's singing, right? And at the end of the day, the thing that keeps us above that line is following your passions. Following your passions in life. What lights you up? What actually brings you life, right? That's what's going to keep you above that line. Because here's the thing that I believe is possible. And I know this because I'm experiencing it right now in my life. Like, this is real moment stuff. I wrote this in January, and I'm here talking about it today. And I've done multiple speeches about this, and I'm writing a book about it as we speak. What I believe is possible is very short and moment-by-moment dips where we potentially may dip below that line, and we recognize it sooner and sooner. We recognize that, oh, I'm having to use courage right now to keep fighting today, right? Or I'm experiencing a little bit of fear, right? But we don't allow ourselves to get down to anger and desire and fear and grief because we recognize it sooner and sooner. And we then are being able to operate ourselves from a place of abundance. There's this, what I call the operating origin. Every single thing that we do is to feel something or to avoid feeling something. Every single thing that we do, we're coming from a place of lack. Therefore, we want to try to achieve something, accomplish something, get some sort of approval or acknowledgement from our world to saying, yes, we're good enough. Or we're coming from a place of abundance, of complete worthiness and love, saying, this is what I then deserve because of my worthiness, because of my absolute connection with God. Because when we begin to understand what is possible, the only thing that we know to be true is unity, is not separation. Below this line is separation. Above the line is oneness, is wholeness, is purity, is love, right? So what's possible is we start to recognize when we are bouncing off that line. We recognize our energy drop. We recognize it when when we're confused or we're irritable. We recognize the symptoms of the fact that we need to let go, that we're trying to control, that we're trying to do it ourselves, that we think we know better than God does, that we're trying to have our own plan. We're trying to force something rather than understanding that what's possible is to bounce off that neutral line and then bounce right back up again and experience more joy, love, and peace and freedom. Because that's what we're all truly after. And spending more and more time above that line. More and more time to where now the unknown becomes comfortable. The unknown is the only place you want to live because you spent so much time in it. And right now, my head is vibrating because I love this conversation about the more time I spend not knowing what's coming next, I then get surprised by the divine. I leave space for the divine to bless me, to surprise me, because I'm spending more time above the line. So we're following our passions, we're using these practices, but the practices are not the answer. It's so simple. So now when I let go, the first part of that process is I let go. I am liberating energy, right? When I let go of something, that emotion is no longer stuck in my energetic system, right? I'm letting it pass through me. And I'm going to go back one more time. I wanted to understand something. We let go, we liberate energy so we can live fully. The hardest part of this model, you guys, is not letting go when we're recognizing the fact that we're attached and identified with these lower vibrations. The hardest part to let go of is when we're experiencing complete love, joy, and peace. That becomes the hardest part. And that's what right now I'm navigating more than anything, is understanding like I experience these insane, intense moments of complete love and peace and joy, and I want to hold on to them. I want to cherish them. I want them to last. But it's me trying to create some sort of control around these experiences, and poof, they're gone. They're gone. So the hardest part becomes when we start to traverse this experience of surrendering and letting go, is even when we are in the unknown, experiencing love, experiencing joy, experiencing peace, experiencing freedom, let go and let that pass through you as well. Because when we do, when we let that pass through us, we're not trapped in it. Therefore, we are giving ourselves more likelihood to experience that again in the future and for it to last even longer. And to share it with our world. Share it with our family. Share it with our community. Share it with our business. Share it with anybody around us. Because it's not just for us. We become this conduit where we get to then spread it with the people we love the most. So we let go. We liberate energy so we can fully live our life. I'm going to pass over those. Again, the 3 A's. I have no idea what time it is. How much time am I going? I'm probably over, huh? The 3 A's, bringing full attention to the present moment. I'm going as fast as I can, Amber. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. I can't go any faster. Stay in the zone. Okay, stay in the flow. Okay, yeah. Full attention to the present moment. Complete acceptance, right? With no judgment. Complete allowance. Not needing the moment to be any different than it is. Do not resist it, right? So we're going to do a practice, because here, I told you it's a 2-part process. So what's the second part, you're wondering, right? Before I tell you that, this is my definition of emotional intelligence: to fully feel in one moment, to allow yourself to fully feel in one moment and shift your vibration to the next. So that leads us into part 2. Part 2 is your God-given right is to feel and experience the world however you desire, however you want to. Which means that if I want to experience more sense of gratitude, appreciation, love, and joy, the moment I let go, I'm creating space, I'm liberating energy. So therefore, in the next moment, I get to decide what I want to experience more of. Right? Does that make sense? And whatever it is that actually creates that experience, there might be visuals, there might be thinking of past memories, there might be people who bring that into your life. But the goal is to be able to experience it regardless of any sort of external circumstance. That you can draw up that sense of love and joy and peace independent of your external circumstance. And I've heard meditation actually defined that way, to be able to cultivate a sense of peace and stillness and joy independent of my external world. That's our God-given right. So we practice it. We practice it in meditation, and we practice it throughout the day. And we start by doing it by letting go of the paper cuts, the smallest little things. When someone cuts you off in traffic, let it go. When you hit the red light and then another red light, let it go. When the dishes aren't done or the kids are being too loud, let it go. When things aren't perfect and you aren't perfect, let it go. And these little tiny things, and you start to liberate energy. And it becomes easier, it becomes a practice, and then you start to be able to let go of bigger things. And eventually you are able to live a life of complete freedom. So we're going to go into a meditation. I'm going to lead it. Can I move the chair over? Yeah. And we're going to practice this very thing of letting go. I'm going to walk you through, basically with every time that we take an inhale, we're going to draw our attention into our body. We're going to then allow for whatever to be there without judgment, complete acceptance, and let it pass through you on every exhale. And you're going to let it go. We're going to create a bit of space, and then we're going to draw in a heart coherence practice to be able to cultivate whatever it is you want. I'm going to use appreciation because that's the easy thing to do for our heart, right? But if there is a sense that you want to experience more love in your life, more joy in your life, more peace in your life, take this experience and make it your own. Okay? Beautiful. So let's sit up straight. Let's close our eyes if you're comfortable. Otherwise, soften your gaze. And just become aware of your breath. Breathe smooth. Breathe light. Breathe easy. This is a natural process. And we're just going to take it as it comes. We're going to actually do a breathing pattern together. We're going to do a pattern where we'll exhale together, and then I'll take you through a 4-second inhale with a 4-second hold and an 8-second exhale. We're lengthening the exhales, and when we lengthen that exhale, we're going to say to ourselves, let it go. So with every inhale, our attention draws into our body. When we hold our breath, we're practicing that complete acceptance, complete allowance. And on the exhale, we let it go. Okay, so let's exhale together. 3, 2, 1. Fully exhale. Good. Inhale for 4. Draw your attention into your body. Let it land wherever it may. Hold your breath in a complete acceptance. Maybe it's in your heart, in your gut. And now let it go. Exhale. Actually say to yourself, let it go. Good. Let's do it again. Inhale. Draw your attention into your body. Full presence. Hold. You don't need to be anywhere else for you to be okay. Complete acceptance. Exhale, let it go. Say to yourself, let it go. We're creating space. Beautiful. Inhale for 4. Maybe your attention goes to the same spot every time. That's okay. Hold. Maybe it's someplace different every single time. That's okay. Exhale. Let it go. This is natural. This is easy. Just take it as it comes. Inhale for 4. And a hold. Complete acceptance. You do not need to judge it. Exhale. Now we're going to inhale for 4. Draw that attention into your body. Hold. Complete acceptance. Complete allowance. And you exhale, visualize smoke exiting out through your nose. Whatever it is there, let it go. Whatever comes up. You may want to smile. Inhale. There might be tears. Don't resist it. Hold. You're making space for what you want to experience. Exhale. Beautiful. Inhale for 4. It's our last round. Hold. Exhale for 8. I want you to return to a normal breath pattern. The goal is a 5-second inhale with a 5-second exhale. And I want you to draw your attention into the space that occupies your heart. Put your full attention in your heart space. With every inhale, I want you to visualize you breathing into this space that occupies your heart. Breathing into your chest, breathing into your heart. With every exhale, the breath is exiting out through this space around your heart. Continue to breathe in for 5. Breathe out for 5. And your next inhale, I want you to draw in somebody, a memory, an experience, a place that gives you a deep sense of appreciation, a sense of joy, peace, love. And every exhale, you're going to let that go and pass through you. You don't need to hold on to it. continue to breathe on every inhale into that space that occupies your heart. And as you do so, draw in this image that helps you feel this sense of open, curious, sense of wonder, love, joy, and peace. And then exhale, you're going to let it go, pass through you, pass all the way through you. Again, inhale, draw this into your body. See if you can charge it. Experience it fully. Don't just think about it, but fully allow for your body to experience it. What does it feel like? Your body is expanding in 360 degrees. Maybe it feels warm. Maybe there's a tingling sensation. Maybe there's a desire to crack a small smile. Don't resist it. Charge it. This is doing the work. Teaching your body how to feel what you want to experience. Continue to draw the breath into your heart space. There it is. What gives you that deep sense of appreciation, love, joy, and peace? And then let it go. On the next breath, I want you to draw that experience into your heart, but drop the image. You don't need this image to cultivate this sense of appreciation, of joy, of peace, of love. This is the truth of you. Let it pass through your entire body. See if every inhale you can charge it a little bit more, experience it a little bit deeper. Does it have a color? Is there a sense of light? What does it look like? Can you explain it to me? And exhale, let it go. Let it spread through your body. It's originating in your heart space and it's spreading out through your torso, into your hips, down your legs, into your feet, down your arms, into your fingertips. It's expanding around you in 360 degrees, and you begin to share it with the people next to you, with your community, with your loved ones. We're bringing everybody together by doing this work, by letting go, and then deciding what we want to experience. Continue to breathe into your heart, building this experience, charging the feeling. On your next inhale, just draw your attention back to your breath. Notice your breath is lighter, is smoother, is more rhythmic. And notice this experience is available to you in any moment, in every moment. It is your God-given right to experience what is possible by letting go and deciding who it is you've come here to be. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for your time today and allowing for me to share this message with you. Appreciate it.
Ryan. Thank you. That was awesome. I've been in a bucket of crabs lately. And thank you so much for identifying that. One of the things I've also come to realize, that behind every individual, or beside every individual that has a passion and has a message, is a partner. And I want to thank you, Ashley. Is it Ashley? Heidi, I'm sorry. I want to thank you for being that partner for him, because what he has is very special. Thank you. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, love in the presence of hatred, and forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God. For we know that there is only one power and one presence and one life. So whoever you are or wherever you are in your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcomed here. That video that you shared, by the way, was amazing. If you're new to our ministry and are interested in learning more about our upcoming transformational speakers, workshops, and events, please sign up for our email newsletter by texting Unity Spokane to 22828, or you can sign up on our website at unityspokane.org. We would also like to connect with you on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Unity Spiritual Center Spokane to find us. Now we get to take a moment and acknowledge and bless one another with a socially distanced namaste. So whether you are here in the sanctuary or out in YouTube land, we would ask that you would stand and extend a blessing to those around you. Thank you. You may be seated. Now is the time to celebrate our abundance together as we share our gifts and love offerings. For those feeling the divine call to financially support our ministry today, you can leave an offering in the drop box in the back at the sanctuary, or another option is to text GIVE to 253-528-7416. I say it every week, that's an amazing way of being able to donate. You can also go to unityspokane.org website and donate, click the little donate button. We also want to acknowledge and thank all of our automatic givers who have been keeping this ministry afloat during the time of virtual services as we've been going through this whole COVID-19 period. We couldn't have done it without you, and just knowing that those automatic donations were there was very supporting. With that in mind, we'd like to take a moment to sink into our hearts and bring forth a feeling of gratitude as we say our love offering. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. Our chaplains today are Diane and Tim, who have been holding the service in prayer for us today. Diane is here in the sanctuary, and Tim is holding our virtual service at home. Diane will be available to pray with you immediately following the service. So if you have a need you'd like to share, Diane will be up here in the front. Diane, where are you at? There she is. Okay, Diane Hunter. There we go. You can reach out to her. If you want something a little more private, you can also go to our website, unityspokane.org, and you can click on the prayer, submit a prayer. Our prayer, the prayers are not only prayed for here, but they're also sent to Unity Community for nationwide. Okay, we'd also like to encourage anyone. Oh, I already did that. Never mind. Sorry. I ad-libbed a little bit. All right. Now, rumor has it, we have some kids in the building, and they're going to be joining us. And so we're going to have them all come into the sanctuary, and this is exciting. The last couple of times we've had a pair, and I know that there's more than two here today. And that's great. It's always amazing to watch them come in because they're like, where are we going and what are they going to do to us? Little do they know, all we want to do is bless their little hearts and their souls. So as they arrive with our song, let's see, here they come.
I am walking in the light, in the light, in the light. I am walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. I'm walking as the light. I am walking
All right. Come on up. Here you go, right here. There we go. That's it. Yep. Don't be shy. He wasn't. Okay, together we want to offer our blessing to the children here. Be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. For ourselves, be the love we are. Sing the song we hear. Share our joy of life with people far and near. Let us now join together for our closing prayer of protection, followed by the peace song. Together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and that's the truth. Stand. That's a take, everybody. You're all feel free to join and get there in the prayer garden and coffee.